All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Berserk, episode 8. Oh, we're a third of the way into this.
Well, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
And in particular, Griffith is moving his way up, as always.
Is indeed.
He has met the princess.
Yes.
They
have introduced the king, because before I don't think we'd really seen him.
We had seen him, I think, a little bit.
Gotcha.
We saw him at the knighting ceremony.
Right. Yeah.
There was the time where we saw the leader of one of the generals of the empire.
That's right. Yep.
But he's the king of Midland or something like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so right now the Band of the Hawk is making their way on their next mission in particular.
Yep.
But
the whole bridge deal.
Yes, with with Mr. Impossible to pronounce name, who's passed down the tactics from generation to generation. I'm like, all right, Armstrong wannabe, calm down.
Yeah.
It was done much better in FMA. But this is the thing about Griffith in particular, is that he is now having to kind of do the political game now.
Right, because there's some jealous nobles out there, some kissing up nobles.
Yep, and in particular, Griffith's style seems to be kind of the gentleman's, I will stoop low if necessary, but I will maintain my internal high character and such.
Okay.
He has to find that way to juxtapose his actions with his internal values and such.
Right.
And I think that in some ways he's probably going to avoid going what I theorize, where he's literally going to have to not even literally, but more figuratively, get in bed with the nobles, so to speak, and have it be more of a thing of all right, I'll give you this if you give me this.
Yeah, he knows how to he knows that game.
Well, we don't know that he knows that game. We can see that he knows it with his mercenaries and his fellow essentially family, but is he good at that when there's way more of them than there is of him, and none of them really like him, or maybe only the ones that don't like him are actually powerful,
Sure.
The king likes him. And
that is a plus.
But we've introduced...
And the princess looks like she likes him.
Yeah, but we've been introduced to a king's brother, and that's always a bad sign. Anytime the king has a brother...
What is this, Hamlet?
So at least none of us are ever going to be king at one point, right? See? Yeah.
Or if we ever become king, we'll just know to, assassinate the other.
Immediately.
Right,
if
before
I'm the brother,
coronation even.
If I'm the brother and you're the king, just kill me immediately.
We've seen Stardust. We know how this works.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, this is going to be cool. So without further ado, let's get into it. And Guts has his shirt on, so I don't see any of his traps either. See,
Griffith is actually a woman. That's what it is.
He covers the Behelit with a shield clasp thing, or a heart shield clasp thing. Did they split their forces?
They split the party?
They are doing some kind of raft.
With the trees that aren't anywhere nearby.
Okay, so they're building a bridge over here. Hopefully this guy doesn't get killed. Yeah.
Suddenly, there's cannon fire.
And in the cover of night, there's no way that anyone's going to hear it or see it.
Well, and they're right by a running river, so...
Yeah. Blue Whale Heavy Assault Knight.
It's his favorite light novel series.
Right, yes.
That's right. Otherwise, people might build bridges on the river that allows them to bypass your fortifications. They're just making it so that the horses can ferry across.
Yeah. Hawk.
Yeah. I thought I might have to say something, but
no.
You're on point.
Aware.
Yeah.
Okay, they're just attacking. Dang. This is the first plan, the first phase of the plan, shock and awe, where we just stand here and look intimidating.
Yep.
They're literally doing that. They're just look over here.
They're making noise. Yeah.
Yep. Band of the Hawk. Nani? Everyone come to this side of the walls. Because if you think about a garrison, they're usually outnumbered like 20 to 1 in terms of the attacking force. Right. Because they can't fit everyone in the castle.
Exactly. They don't want to be able to be starved out.
Right. Exactly. But what that also means is if a small force of like 40 people get inside the castle, it's basically over. Like,
or at least it
could
certainly complicates things.
Oh, they do have cannons. Crap. Oh, okay.
You do see that they're like 10 miles away, right?
What? Why would you leave the castle? Yep. Yes.
2% rule. He's like, hold on a second.
Yes.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
I love this guy so much. He like thinks he's the genius.
Yeah.
Ignore them.
Because the thing is, in his position, he can't really have people question him, or the people under him can't really question him.
Right. Dang, bro. Dang. He is swole. He is a big man.
He has to have a horse to carry his sword.
This band of, wait, what did you say?
No, there's a hilarious part of the outtakes for that moment.
Oh, okay. I am excited about the tactics being used here. It's very much mind games related, you know? Yeah, that's very realistic. They had to take off their armor and then put it on this side.
Yep.
Guys, gotta be quiet. Horses make a lot of noise. Wait.
What was that thing Braun said?
Wait, are they just gonna walk up to the castle and ask to be let in? Oh my gosh, you have gotta be kidding me! There is no way. He's gonna see the sword and it's on! Here we go! Oh my gosh!
Take 100 good men.
I'll impregnate the bitch. Oh my gosh! Oh! Wow!
They snuck up from behind.
Oh yes! Captain Obvious here! There's a joke to be made there, and I'm not going to make it.
I know.
I will stand here and yell things. Yeah, they have to open their side of the gate. Oh, they just ran through. Wow!
That's the issue with not having
genius.
Like, uniforms and
right,
stuff
identifiable markings and stuff. Jeez!
1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Oh my gosh, there's a piece that just went flying into the air. Dang. As the sun rises.
Yep.
And yep. Oh, nice helmet. It looks kind of goofy, but it's still pretty good.
Right. But thankfully, they got them to pull all, like, the majority of their men out.
That's true. What sneaky tactics! Nicely played. Oh.
Yep.
Oh. Nice.
Fist bump.
Yeah. All too easy. Surrender? How do you retreat? My brain is key! This guy. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a dick. The precious heirloom is handed down the Corvalwin's family from generation to generation! Yeah, I mean, cowards live longer than, you know.
It's true.
Brave.
Old swordsman and bold swordsman.
Yep.
You know.
Whoa, nice. Judo, holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah, this is essentially like the twins in Game of Thrones. Yes. Boss Code has an intense Whoa, he's also huge.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Oh my god, I love every time he says that. Wow. It's 500 years now? Whoa!
Yep.
Whoa, this is happening very quickly.
Uh-huh.
So that's how he's being rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
And Julian or Julius or whatever.
様が伯爵になられたんですってね。聞いた。あの方とても素敵。うがで堂々としててさ。下手な貴族よりよっぽど品があるんだもの。様と比べちゃ他の武官たちがかわいそうよ。お前たち何を無駄口叩いておるか。申し訳ございません。
And let's leave quickly. Yep.
He is a spy master. I knew it. I knew he was some kind of Varys kind of character. Oh. Yeah, you've been replaced. Oh, shoot. Nani? Oh. He lives for glory and thereby will die by the opinions of others.
Yep.
We're reputed.
Uh-huh.
Yep, glory, there it is. Yep.
Well, yeah. Glory is my trigger.
It's just a rumor my little birds have told me about.
Exactly.
But if something were to happen... Oh, dang, will they start working with the Empire just to undermine the Band of the Hawk? He's about to burst like 50 blood vessels right over his left eye. Just... Oh crap. Griffith's dream is becoming a reality. Wow, he's manipulating him like really well. There it is. Oh, yep. Oh, his eyes are crazy. That's a good evil laugh.
Yeah.
Dang. He didn't even look human there for a second.
Yeah.
That laugh. All right, political machinations. We have our little Varys spy figure.
Indeed.
Manipulating the king's
like
brother Julius.
Like
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got it wrapped around his finger. One of the things that I'm really curious about is, since this is the beginning of the political problems really for Griffith, like the serious ones.
Right.
Like we've had little things here and there.
But this is like people
but they're more like PR problems. Now this is more of like, we could have someone accidentally like hit you with a very, very poisoned arrow that should have gone for that boar, but oh my god, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and there's also the problem that, like, if you think about it, okay, because the people that basically have it out for Griffith are so powerful, it's like, what can Griffith really do? Right?
Surround himself with powerful people.
Right, yeah, surround himself with powerful people. But the idea is that it's like, even if he did end up finding out, like, who was behind it, it's like, how can you really, like...
Yeah, he can't touch them.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, Griffith needs to let their stupidity out themselves. And that's why I think this is going to be a very easily remedied situation, in that Julius is going to he's going to slip up big time here, because I see Casca around Griffith 24/7. Guts might not be around Griffith like at this particular time where Griffith could end up getting assassinated, or at the very least get close to getting assassinated. 3, Judo would have like, you saw someone just start to point the crossbow at him, and he's like, nope, boom,
he took that feat of +5 to initiative and can't be surprised.
Right. So Judo in particular, being just near Griffith, he's just like, nope, you're dead, you're dead. And I think that the show knows that. So they had that little bit with Judo there intentionally to foreshadow the idea of someone shooting a stray arrow in Griffith's direction and Judo just being like, Judo don't want to do that.
He catches it out of the air.
I'm trying to think of a Judo pun where it's like,
you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Yes, exactly. But Griffith has taken the castle. Guts' brilliant little use of, they'd never...
The general's here, yeah.
Yeah, they'd never... We're going to use get help. I hate get help, you know? Come on, you love it. Someone get help! Open the gates! Oh, everyone just run through and pillage the place. It's really funny how...
And how they kept that up even when they got to the front.
Yes, even when they got to the front gate.
Quick, they're coming in the back. Go,
everyone, go help! And they're like, "Oh, yes, sir!"
And then they just
run through, open the next gate, and Guts. Like, this is something that, in particular, might be where the Black Swordsman, like legend or myth thing
starts.
The notoriety comes from. Is that Griffith is going to get notoriety for being a legendary commander of the Band of the Hawk.
But then Guts just becomes like this.
Guts is like the enforcer of the Band of the Hawk. And
right.
It's like, there's this man, and he's tall. He has black hair like the night, and his sword is taller than he is.
Yeah.
And he comes through, and he swings this sword as if it was a cherry blossom or something. And
it's just, he'll cut down 3, 4, 5 people at once.
And that'll build the fear around their band. But one of the things that will avoid is having situations like this happen in the future, because they'll see some guy coming with a sword and be like, "Oh, the general's here," and they're like, "How big is that sword you've got there?" And they're like,
about 6.5 feet.
It's like, it's not that big. It looks pretty big. It's a perspective thing. You're way up there on the castle wall. And of course, it looks big from farther away. No, it should look smaller from farther away. Anyway, the general has a message. No. Take off your helmet.
I hear he kills Midlands or Tudors by the 100. And if he were here, he'd consume the Tudors.
With fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. Yes.
I am the Black Swordsman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joking aside, the tactics used in this one were fantastic. The speed at which they got through the defenses, amazing. Yeah. I liked their use of mind games to juke them out in the beginning.
Right.
And it made the battle commander actually think, I know what their trap is. They're going to get us to...
Right, they give an obvious ploy that's like, that way they don't wonder, why did this army appear and then just retreat? Like, what's going on?
Now, in that specific bit there... I think Griffith was totally in the head of the enemy commander.
Oh, yeah.
But what I liked was that they had the enemy commander actually think logically and go,
even though he was a bit slow on the up.
Oh, he was a bit slow on the follow-up, yes. But he knew, like, this is all just a ruse.
Right.
So we'll ignore them, and we'll just remain on alert.
Yeah.
But the thing was... They need a better system for bringing in couriers from the other side of the battlements.
Exactly. And I love how because I think one of the ideas was that it wasn't just that they wanted to use the army as a way to basically draw their attention.
Right.
But to also, the actual noise could potentially help drown out, like, if they hear like a faint, like, clip, clop coming from behind the castle or something.
There's that, but I don't think the noise was... loud enough
they were super far away.
So I, if anything, was a little bit worried because you could tell that there was a decent number of them that went across the river there.
Yep.
And they did do the thing of like, it's only 20 men. And then when they went through the castle, there's like, 80 of them or so.
Yeah.
But whatever. That many horses does make a lot of noise. So I'm glad that they hung back and just 3 of them came up and were like, "Sir!" So if they did hear horses, they would just be like, "Oh, it's just 3 messengers." Okay, fantastic. Those kinds of things are really good. I noticed there was a visual difference in the blood this episode. There's a bit of a pink thing going on. Yeah. Maybe it's just they don't want to have actual gore, so they just differentiate the blood color a little bit to be like, there's some plasma and some other fluids involved here.
Yeah, because like at the point when Guts is like going up on top of the wall, it's like there are pieces,
There were pieces coming off. There's a part where he swings and just someone dies over there, but something flies up back here, and you're like, wait, what? It's
you swing that sword, you don't got a problem over here no more.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you see someone using a weapon like that you really feel bad for anyone that just happens to be in front of them that
Especially
he doesn't like.
Especially when they've got just crossbows, and it's like, oh boy,
I mean,
we already fired. It'll take another 15 seconds to reload.
Let's be real. They had crossbows. What they probably had was, decent-sized short swords. Stuff that, you would use to defend against someone coming up the ladder or something like that.
Exactly.
So something that you could quickly come in and slide into their neck right there and kill them.
But it's not going to stop a park bench,
No, it's not going to stop a park bench.
It's not going to work. The math doesn't add up.
And the funny thing is, I understood that meme reference. Someone posted that in the Discord. Yeah. They're just guts holding a park bench. Because apparently the 2017 thing has the clang clang.
Yeah, it sounds like a frying pan, basically. It just turn.
That's really funny.
It's really bad. But
I noticed that there wasn't a lot of music in this in this episode. We didn't have forces.
Yes, I know.
But what that did do was give us a little bit more comedy to
certainly
from the Korborowitz
commander.
He was hilarious, and this is so weird because
it's Berserk. It's
Berserk, and I'm getting the vibe,
serious and gritty and
right. I'm getting the vibe that this is a very edgy show. It's very gritty, very hardcore,
grimdark kind of show.
Yeah. And we just had Nosferatu Zod a couple episodes ago, and now we have Korborowitz, the McButchin, goober
and the
villain.
whole thing of him being like, I have a plan. There's a raft.
I will run away.
It's not
my brain is too valuable for the Empire.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, let's remove you from the gene pool because your brain, we don't want anything more passed down from this family. I love the part is it 500 years now?
Yeah. Oh man.
So very hilarious. I was surprised by how much comedy there was. The fight was fantastic. The battle was just flawlessly executed. But the idea of having Julius being kind of manipulated by this little guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, you said he's not some kind of warlock or anything like that, just to remove speculation and stuff. But you realize how much this makes me believe you're lying in some ways.
I'm not lying.
Okay, because the fact that he's
a
doing
very scheming kind of dude. Yeah.
Right, which makes me think: is there more to it than him just being a scheming spy kind of guy?
Gotcha.
He is a noble.
At least to satisfy the warlock thing, if you wanted to go back and rewatch our reactions to, the first episode,
he could be something else. He could be something else. You could be doing the thing of he's not a warlock.
He's actually one of those demon monsters.
Right, exactly. He's some kind of person that is an agent of chaos or something like that. Here's the thing.
Want to know how
Varys is one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones. One of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
I love his character. In the books, he's even better, I think. But the actor in Game of Thrones does a really good job. But
he does.
When I see this type of character come up, who's a little bit quiet,
he's bald,
always listening. He's bald. He's smaller, so there's nothing physically imposing about him.
And you're not quite sure what he does at the castle.
That's true, also. But Julius has this physically imposing, regal look to him. He looks like a king. Yeah. He looks like the kind of person who would lead a nation in medieval times. But this guy has the kind of look of because of, genetics and because of my birth, I'm unfortunately capped in my development in the vertical noble politics kind of thing.
Well, sure, that too, yeah.
But what he is probably able to do is he is able to twist the other more powerful nobles around to do things that maybe benefit him. And because we don't know exactly what he does at the castle, like you said, I'm a little bit excited to see what he does next. Because if he's just in the story for this, cool, that's fine. He does his thing, and Julius is eventually outed, or maybe this would be the ultimate twist. He's actually working for Griffith, and Griffith is having him essentially do some kind of attack against him, but Griffith's men are going to be on alert, so the attack fails. It leads back to Julius. Julius, of course, denies it, but then Julius would take more drastic measures to end the king's life so that he would ascend to the throne before Griffith gets into a position to where he can actually threaten Julius. And then Griffith saves the king's life, outing Julius.
Gotcha.
And it's all like, Griffith's like, at the end, he just does this all according to Keikaku. And it's like, whoa, Griffith, that would be awesome. Because I want to see Griffith's dark side. Not like evil, but like I want to see where he will like go to like exceptional means to make sure his dream is realized, especially when it's threatened. Because right now, Griffith is just, success, success, I only get success. Yeah. I never fail at anything, I only get success. Right. And I'm like, all right, that's interesting, but that doesn't make it as compelling because we want to see you struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, so what level will this make Griffith struggle? A little bit? Yep. Okay, but I could also see it just being nothing. And then I'd be like, well, then what is the big thing that's going to make Griffith struggle?
Because struggle is one of the things like that makes characters interesting, that makes stories interesting.
It makes Guts a lot more interesting because other than that, he's a pretty one-dimensional character. Yeah. Like, his struggle is what makes him actually interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, we don't see him really being someone that's going to have a great life. Like, we don't look at this guy and go, he's got such great things ahead of him. Partially because of the first episode. But not even that. Like, you look at just the way this guy's past was set up with his backstory as a child, the way he interacts with people.
Yep.
Like, he dumped everything, of course, into strength and constitution, so he's got that figured out, and he's going to win in battles and stuff.
Right.
But I don't see
unless,
this...
of course, he's up against something like Zod.
Yeah, that's true. Something that defies human understanding and stuff. But I don't see him having a happy life. Like, I don't see him getting a wife and kids. I don't see him, necessarily having, like, peace. Like, gotcha. I see him as a character who's probably just going to bring conflict until maybe he learns to grow a little bit. But we're going to need a lot more time probably for that.
Gotcha.
So... I don't know. It's actually a very cool like juxtaposition. Griffith, massive success.
Yep.
Always succeeds, and for those with him, they get to partner with that success. So that's good, right?
Yeah.
But Guts,
Griffith's
if you look at
account now, like
right, but Griffith had to probably struggle a lot to get to this place where he's at massive success.
Sure.
Guts, on the other hand, has had to struggle all his life, and now is kind of tasting that kind of good life in a way, and he's like, this is different.
Right.
Like, what is this?
Yep.
It's kind of because of Griffith that's the thing. But what happens when, the eventual schism happens between Griffith and Guts?
Right.
What is Guts going to... Basically, what's going to be his direction in that? Is he just going to go in and then just go back into struggle again? Will he then start succeeding because he's now learned so much from Griffith? I think it's going to be a mix of both. But I think that's what it's going to be, is that Griffith is going to have a point where he really starts to struggle. And that's going to be like it's going to make him question his dream.
Gotcha.
And that might be what causes the schism. I have so many theories about what will cause the schism. When I say the schism, guys, I mean
the fallout
between Griffith and Guts.
Yeah.
Because we know it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
How and all that stuff.
I think as long as Griffith is succeeding 100%, it can't happen. But once Griffith stops succeeding 100%, that's when it's going to get a little bit interesting.
Because what was it that Zod said when
his ambition fails
him,
something like that.
That will be your doom, or
that will be
like
your doom, and you will die a death that you can't avoid, or something like that. I'll go back and rewatch it,
something like that.
But Nosferatu Zod brought a more direct looming.
Right, he's like this harbinger of that. Okay. Like, this is not going to end well.
Right, but
I've seen the first episode.
Right, but he's very specific in that it's tied to Griffith's dream and the Behelit, and Guts is involved in some way. So, that's the thing. I actually really don't trust Zod's prophecy. Because in a lot of ways, he knows something about the Behelit. Like, he's like, that's the ploy, right?
Sure.
So in some ways, he could give a prophecy that would because the whole thing is about...
That is actually, like, to make the schism happen or
right. So,
something.
in a lot of ways, this show is about free will versus kind of
fate.
fatalism.
Yeah.
And if he's giving a prophecy, and he's something that goes beyond the human understanding, so he's not a god, necessarily, or he is not the god, or, like he is not fate.
But
he might be someone that's tapped into it more than a human being is. So he might be able to go, oh, if I say this, that will end up making things work out well for whatever this ploy is that he mentioned. That's why I think he's not that big of a deal. I think Zod is big. Like, he's
pretty tall, at least.
Yeah, at the very least. But the fact that he called it, that's the ploy, it's almost like he's talking to someone's like, oh, that's your ploy. And that's why I'm like, oh, please throw that thing away soon.
Cast it into the fire.
In a lot of ways, there's another aspect of this where you can see that Griffith might not be what ends up being the problem with the schism. Because he doesn't seem to have, like, anything really, like innately wrong with him. And that's what's bringing him so much success, is that he's just this... He's just this purely driven force of will, and he just goes through everything. And even when people spit on him and slap him,
he rubs people the wrong way when they don't like how quickly he's moving and all that stuff.
Right. But in a lot of other ways, I almost feel like the show is wanting us to be wary about someone who enacts so much of their free will because of how much it leans towards the fatalistic side of things with that opening bit that we keep hearing by the narrator.
Right.
So is Griffith wrong for seeking out free will? And it's going to be like, all right, you have your initial, like, successes and stuff, but eventually you'll see where free will get you.
Gotcha.
And then, like, fate will catch up with him. And I think that will be a combination of him either making some stupid decisions and or Guts and the Band of the Hawk making some decisions that don't, jive with them, particularly Guts, and then they have some kind of a falling out. But I don't know, man. I really like how this show has decided to give us the worry of how things are going to go, while having so much success,
right?
Which is such a weird combination of things,
and yes, because it
runs the risk of trivializing a lot of the success.
It totally does.
Yeah,
and but they still somehow make the success feel like insane and crazy, because it's like what Griffith's account. Okay, all right, this is something that's happening, even though he's just some random mercenary band leader.
Right. I'm like, is he going to be king in like 4 episodes, and there's just going to be like...
See, the first half of the show is the, pre-episode 1, and then the second half is all post-episode 1.
Right. That would be crazy. Like, what kind of things would have to change to where we get into a world where Griffith is king and Guts is the Black Swordsman? See, that's the thing. There has to be more time involved, because Guts needs to build up his bit, and there needs to be an explanation for why monstrous snake thing is, just in the streets, And didn't they slaughter, wasn't there a bit where they were just slaughtering the inhabitants of the people outside the castle?
Mm-hmm.
Who ordered that?
The snake guy.
Now, the snake guy ordered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't... Was he in, what, did he look like a snake guy?
Well, I mean, he had, the slit eyes and the sharp teeth and stuff. But he wasn't in his final form.
But he was like Nosferatu Zod. He was in a monstrous kind of bipedal form.
Yeah, bipedal and vaguely humanish.
Right. So my question is basically, what brought that guy into the story? What brought... Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just dancing around the whole bit of it, because Okay. Well, this is good stuff.
It is.
I think I'm just running in circles here.
Yeah.
But guys, I love this show.
It's a good show.
It's a good show, and I think that I'm a little bit biased because I'm a sucker for fantasy and stuff.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We need more shows, not just anime. I mean, anime specifically, yes, absolutely, even doubly more so. Right. We need more shows like Berserk, where they do the fantasy and they don't make it like 100% like cliche young adult fantasy. Right? They make it about the fantasy and have that sort of like subdued background fantasy, right?
Right.
Where it still like builds up the idea of the mythological aspects of this world to really be mysterious and amazing and awe-inspiring and terrifying and and all that.
Right, by not showing us everything, we get the desire to want to see more.
Exactly.
And we know that they can deliver because at those very specific points where they've shown us more, it got a little bit like, whoa, what's going on?
I was expecting something, but this is a bit like, whoa.
Yeah, Zod in particular, when he was like, that's a hint towards the monstrous side of things that are going on in Berserk. We have this one with like ugly teeth and he's just a big ugly guy. Nope.
He's a minotaur flying.
He's a full level 18 Balrog demon thing. Like this is like, like if there were like 10 tiers of villains, this guy is tier 2. Like he somehow snuck his way into our level 8 dungeon when he's supposed to be a level, like he's a level 18.
He's a world boss, like, or a raid boss or whatever.
Yeah. No, he has physical body and he can bleed, so he's not a world boss. Like
you're like, sorry, unless there's tentacles,
No, unless they have some kind of like radiating aura of evil.
Oh, sure. They're like the ghosts in episode 1.
Whatever those things were.
Yeah, whatever those things were.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff where you just like,
I gotta say, though, when I first watched this show, and it got to this point, because I was like, okay, there's action, it's cool, military-type stuff, awesome, I love it. And then there's Nosferatu Zod, so that's even better.
Right, yeah.
But then they got into, like, this intrigue thing and the whole idea of, like, an assassination being plotted, and, because, like, okay, the Julian guy or whatever, it's like, come on, you're like, you're not really scared of him. But then this little guy, this Bald Varys looking dude comes up, and it's like, oh, okay, what's this guy doing?
Yeah,
what's his ploy?
Right?
Like what's going on here? That was where I was like, all right, this is going beyond just being something that I could just categorize as being this one thing, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times when stories try and make it be more than just that one thing that they initially start out doing, it ends up feeling out of place.
Contrived, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they just do it so well. So.
Yep. So props to them. If you guys want to watch the next episode's reaction right now, Berserk episode 9, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon.
Yes.
You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. All this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about whatever you want. And yeah, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.